So good morning. 9:15. So here we go. Let's get started. Um, there's a disclaimer that this is for educational purposes only. These are things I look at every morning. I was looking at general market and things to know before they open. So stock futures ticked a little bit lower after a wild Monday. There was a massive gap up in everything yesterday, apparently after a tweet or Truth Social post. Oil futures this morning are down because of those comments that supposedly the war in the Middle East is going to be short-lived. Let's hope that's true. And the G7 supposedly are meeting over potential release of oil reserves. Again, these are just general information that I look at in the morning, and whether they affect my trading or not, just their general information I like knowing. Same with the economic calendar. At 10 a.m., there's existing home sales, and that can have an impact on the market. And then earnings, we've got aftermarket close, we've got Oracle today. I forgot to put in what worked and what didn't work. So I do want to talk about the Tesla trade I took yesterday. I'll talk about that after I set my levels. I made a mistake with that trade, and I'll explain what the mistake was, because the actual trade, which is what I shared yesterday during the open, I actually shared and put the levels on TradingView, and that one worked perfectly well. So I'll explain why that worked. Also, there was a break and retest on Google, I believe. I forgot to write them down here, but I will talk about them. So here we go with my TradingView chart. And if anybody has anything to say, please don't hesitate. Go ahead and interrupt me and just say something as I'm going along. Otherwise, I'll just keep on talking, because that's what I've done for 30 years, is just talk through my process and explain what it is I'm seeing. Here we go. So here are my 10 tickers. I've got a few futures on there as well, but this is the analysis I do every day. As far as Apple is concerned, where Apple is at the moment, there's no room to the left higher than price, and no room to the left lower than price, because if we come down here, 258.54, if it comes down to the lows here, there's not a lot of room to the left. However, this is a good setup for a break and retest, because it broke yesterday and then made new highs. Now it's retesting this area. So even though there's not a lot of room to the left over here, it is a possible setup for the break and retest. I will be setting up a level right around here, an alert, just to be notified if it does, and then I'll look at price action and see if it's anything worth looking at. As far as the highs are concerned, to break out from this area, it would have to break out from the pre-market high. And that's the analysis on Apple. I'm looking at the possibility of it retesting this level here, probably wicking down, taking out some stops and liquidity over here for the continuation higher. That's a possibility. These are beautiful candles for the break and retest. It's just basically showing it broke out, massive green candle on the 30-minute, pulled back. It's breaking out again. Now it's retesting again. So same thing on AMD. I would be curious to know what happens at this level here. So I will set an alert. I wouldn't be surprised if this was taken out pretty much right at the open. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of orders over here, or it could just take off right away. But I've set the alert just to just in case it chops around here and then comes down here a little bit later on. Amazon, again, look at this, breaking out, retesting, breaking out, retesting. This is an area of interest for me on On Amazon, I would want it to come down below this area here because there's liquidity here. There's stops underneath here. There's a lot of stops underneath here, and there's stops underneath here as well. And this KT or Kangaroo Tail from pre-market yesterday, there's stops underneath here as well. So there's orders all the way along here. So I'm going to wait and see what happens if and when we touch over here. As far as the tops are concerned, this is something I'd be curious to possibly trade the breakout of this area and the retest, or the rejection of this area. This is R4 on the CAM levels. This is a strong area of rejection, and we can tell that we rejected this area a few days ago. This was from last Friday, and there is a 30-minute fair value gap that printed here that has not been closed yet. So this area here could be very interesting. I will set an alert for R4. And I've got an alert below here. So I'll probably get a lot of notifications this morning. Google, as far as room to the left, there's lots of room to the left on the higher side. As far as room to the left below, there's not a lot of room, but this is also a pattern of breaking and retesting. So down below here, I'd like to be notified. I already have a notification at the tops over here, which is R3. Actually, this notification was from yesterday. I will move it to the highs of day. Again, I'm going to be watching these, but I like putting the alerts there just to show what it is I'm looking at. There's this long tail wick this morning at 6:30. Then we pulled back, and now we're retesting it. This is Meta. I don't see much on Meta here. It was here this morning. So as far as room to the left, it would have to be above here, but it's showing a similar pattern, right? That tweet yesterday or whatever it was that Trump put out just pushed the market higher. Then we pulled back, and then pre-market this morning made a new high, pulling back again. So Meta will be interesting, whether it can continue. Personally, I don't like it. Microsoft. We've got, I'll put the chat on because I don't know if I'm getting notifications on chat. I hear things happening here. Chat is open. There we go. Okay, so similar price action on Microsoft. We broke out yesterday, retested aftermarket close, and then this morning we gapped up. We have closed that gap and retested that area perfectly in pre-market. So what will happen here? For me, nothing to do until we take out the highs and or the lows. So that's where I've got my notifications on Microsoft. I'm not at this level. If we come into this area, which rejected a bunch of times, so if it takes out the highs here, I'm definitely interested in seeing what will happen at 412. Does somebody have a question there, or I hear there's a microphone that's on? Oh, Marinda? And I can't mute you from here, so I don't know if somebody can, if you can turn your mic off unless you have a question. Now I'm on NVIDIA. NVIDIA, I've got this level here. I don't know if it's somebody that's got me on mute, but we can hear you. Sorry, give me a second. There we go. Thank you. Okay, so coming back to NVIDIA, I have this level here that I set up a while ago. I've left it there because there's definitely an area of liquidity of interest over here. Beautiful pattern for the break and retest, right? We're breaking out and then breaking out and retesting, breaking out and retesting. So this level here will be interesting. If we come down below here, I'd like to know because we might find a lot of buyers over here, and this would be the breakout and retest pattern for going higher. As far as lower, I'd like to know what happens if we get into this area of liquidity just up here. If it were to take out liquidity and see a lot of selling, this would potentially be, for me, an area for shorting, but it could break out with momentum and then retest for the move higher. I will remove this notification down here. Okay, next, Tesla. Tesla was a perfect setup for my Kangaroo Tail yesterday. However, I got into it early, and then I pointed it out that it happened like 10 minutes later, and I didn't get in the second time, which would have been a wonderful trade. But I'll talk about that once the market opens a little bit later. Broke out, retesting, breaking out, or continuing on, retesting this level. As far as I'm concerned, it would have to come down considerably for me to want to consider a long. As in considerably, I mean, it would have to come down and get liquidity over here. That's just from patterns of what I've seen, what I like. If it came down and touch these two wicks here, I mean, it could potentially be a long, but for me, not super interested. But if it breaks up above here and rejects, I will start looking at it. And I'll let price action determine whether I get in or not. Big breakout yesterday on Qs and SPY. Qs over here, we've got the breakout, the retest, and then again gapping up this morning. What will happen at the open here will be interesting. I'd like to know. There's my alert on Apple. I'll go look at it in a second. Not interested in doing anything in the first few minutes anyway. I will be looking at Qs and SPYs, so I don't really need an alert up here. There is a large area of liquidity over here. So if I were to get into a long, let's say over here, my target, my profit target would have to be before this area because this might potentially be a difficult area to go through on the long side. And SPY, big gap yesterday, or I should say really gap. It was during market hours, so big move up, pull back, gapped up this morning and hit resistance. This blue line was here before. This is pretty much where it stopped out. The reason it was there was because it was support. Even though we dipped down, it was kind of support and chopping around here. Support again, gapped underneath that morning and then came back up and supported again. So this blue line has been touched many times, and then it became resistance and then resistance again this morning. So it's an obvious level of interest. I want to see what happens there. It's not an automatic long or short. It's just I want to see what happens once we get to this area again. So there's my alert there. As far as below, there's not a lot of room to the left, but this was a gap up or a breakout. If it were to gap down into this area, it could possibly be continuation long, because there are a lot of orders over here. Market opens in 10 seconds. Good luck to whoever is trading the open. And I will talk about my Tesla trade in a few minutes. I just need to grab a drink. Good luck, everyone. And the alert that I got on TradingView was Apple. I wanted to see what happens at the open here. There are a lot of, let's put Apple, the book here. 72% RVol is not ideal. I do like seeing RVol above 80%. The book seems somewhat balanced. Tesla getting up to the highs, but I do not do anything in the first few minutes. Microsoft also setting off the alert. Again, what I do is not an indication of what other people do. There's people that will absolutely take the breakout trade here on Tesla. This was a level of resistance yesterday. Who knows what it's going to do today? Right? Tesla has higher RVol. The book seems balanced to me. However, depending on price action, some people will take this long and other people will just take it short. For me, it's in between. Right now, it's in between pre-market high and pre-market low and PDC. So until we prove ourselves above or below this, I'm not really interested. And the first 5 minutes hasn't passed yet. So I do nothing in the first 5 minutes. I've changed the colors of my wicks, which was the problem I had yesterday. The reason I took that trade yesterday on Tesla was because of the colors of the wicks. And so I changed them to white now. And in a few minutes, I'll explain the trade, and I might actually go through the checklist for my Kangaroo Tail Long. Trade book. Kangaroo Tail reversal. Yeah, I'll share that. If anybody sees anything, or I always have these tickers on my screen. If there's something else you guys are interested in, please don't hesitate. Let me know. I can bring it up on the screen. If you don't have level 2, I can put the level 2 up to look at the orders. This is my KT setup. I just don't like that it's in the first few minutes. The KT's set up short. It hasn't happened yet. The candle needs to close. I'll explain it here. Let's go full screen. This is what I'm looking at right now. It took out pre-market liquidity with the wick being higher. It's pushing up now. That's what I said. It hasn't proven itself yet. If it were to close below the low here, or at the low here, then if it went lower with momentum, it can be a strong short signal. What I don't like, and there's often things I don't like, stop would have to be above the wick. And if that's the case, I need 3 times that risk. So my take profit would be around 636, and there's pre-market low, PDC yesterday, or sorry, what is this? Whatever this line is, that's yesterday's low. This was pre-market high, I think, from yesterday, or I'd have to look at it. But the candle didn't close the way that I like it. So there you go. And that one's off the books. And it's Meta anyway. So I'm not a fan of trading Meta. That's my personal preference. This candlestick here closed green. If it closed red and made a new low, this is something I might have been interested in. This candlestick is turning closed red. However, it did not take out liquidity at the top. Right? It doesn't mean it's not a short. It could very well be. Actually, I'm going to put the SPY put options on my screen just to see the price action on those, because we often see price action happen in the options market before we see it happen here. So hopefully the screen is a little bit easier to see now. I do record this for my students who watch it on YouTube. I am looking at the possibility of changing my layout as well, just to make it easier. But this is what I like to be able to see the 10 tickers in front of me. I can very easily see if one of my 3 setups appears. And when I say 3 setups, it's really 3 per side, so 6 setups. Let's SPY back on here. Like I said, there's home sales numbers at 10 a.m. Yeah, existing home sales, so that can have an impact. I've set an alert on Google here. If it goes above the high a day here and rejects, I would be interested, because if I look to the left, there's lots of room to the left. One of 2 things could happen. It could break out with a lot of momentum. Then I'd be interested in waiting and seeing if it retests for the move higher. Or if it takes out liquidity above 308.63 and rejects, it might be a short. And if it was a short, I'd be aiming probably for this area over here, because this is where we broke out yesterday. Very low R vol on Google, though. At 33%, I would be very, very hesitant in taking that trade. R vol seems to be drying up on a lot. Very slow moving. Okay, it's probably a good time to share my my Tesla trade from yesterday. So let me bring that up. There we go. So Tesla. These are alerts from earlier. There we go. So I'm going to go back to the 5-minute time frame, and I'm going to hit replay, and I'm going to go here. S6 was right over here. So this is something I took live yesterday, 1050, oh, sorry, 950. The next candle that printed was a I'm going to call it a kangaroo tail because that was my strategy, but it was not. The reason it was not was because of the wick rejection at the top here. For it to be a true kangaroo tail, first of all, there's a couple things that I look for, and I'll bring up my checklist a little bit later on. But it needs to wick down into a level. S6 is at 382.68. Now, S6 is a line, but as far as levels are concerned, it's not a definitive 1 penny line. It's in an area. So that's why I was okay taking it here. But the thing that made it that I should not have taken it was the wick at the top here. And then I'll show. So I did go long here at the break on the next candle when it broke higher. And I put my stop right underneath here. I can actually show the image. Just for transparency. Oh, I do have it here. So there we go. So that was my trade on the 1 minute here, but on the 5 minute, just above, I actually had a line here. So I waited for it to get up above 385.43 and it reversed on me right away. My stop was right below the wick here. So that was -1R. The better trade, which I actually pointed out a few minutes later. So once I got stopped out here, the next candle here, that was a beautiful entry candle. And that's why I've got the long tool here on TradingView. This is absolutely my kangaroo tail. It goes into the level. The wick is 2/3 or more of the length of the candle. The body is at the top. Now it closed red, but the open and the close were right next to each other. So that's it, whether it's red or green doesn't matter. The body is within the range of the previous candle. And the trade stipulates, per my rules, if we break out on the next candle, then you can go long. Conservative stop is below the wick. Aggressive stop is 50% of the candle. So over here, that means your 3 to 1 would have been much lower. So I put it here, and this is something I put on yesterday during the trading session. So if I continue here, this would have been the entry, and then I'll show on the 1 minute. And then, you know, the rest is history. Yes, it took a little while to hit the 3R, but then after the tweet, it just kept on going. Let's just look at what's going on right now. Quick scan. I don't see much happening except for AMD here seems to be rejecting here. See, this is a kangaroo tail short, possibly setting up. So let me move this out of the way. And I'm going to analyze AMD and see if it's something. AMD seems to have broken out. Now it seems to be breaking out of this area from pre-market high. But what does it do here? That's what I want to see. Does it continue going higher? Or does it reject this level? Right? At this point, it pulled back and then broke the new highs again. So another 40 seconds. And it does seem like it could be making new highs. There we go. So it's not my kangaroo tail setup short. It could be a breakout and a retest. So now that it's broken out here, I want to see if it comes back to the 205 area. So below, say 205.26. It might be a little bit early to put the alert there, but this could be a long. Right now that it's gone up above pre-market high, if it proves itself over here, if it retests, I need to see it on a larger time frame.
Below alert.
Yeah, there you go. It's retesting right away, which doesn't make me feel confident on the long. And it did not form the candle formations that I like. Microsoft, I see this long tail wick here. This could be a sign of a long. Did it take out liquidity below? Yes, it did. But the body of the candle is not within the range of the previous candle. Also, do I really want to go long after these two very big red candles? I'm not loving it. And I'll come back to the Tesla trade in a few minutes because I do want to show where the entry would have been on the 1 minute time frame. AMD's RVol is decent. Microsoft is a little bit low. Google is really, really low. Yeah, AMD, I'm not feeling conviction either way. A lot of wicks to the top side, broke out, but then put in this really big red candle here. Might call it an engulfing because it does engulf the entire body of the previous candle. So on a red engulfing candle, does not give confidence for long. So let's continue with Tesla here. Let's go back again to my entry over here, or the actual printing of, there you go. So once this candle prints, this is where someone could get into the 1 minute time frame. A lot of people will wait for a 1 minute fair value gap to form and then retest that. So on that 5 minute candle, the wick went down and then it's closing over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's the candle right there with the wick, and the high is right over here. On the 1 minute time frame, it did put in this tiny little fair value gap over here. So let's continue looking at it. There you go. So with the next candle, it put in a decent fair value gap. If we come and retest this fair value gap and then move higher, that can be the entry. There you go. So there's the retest of this fair value gap. Entry would be on the break of the high of this candle. So we saw that this one worked. There you go. Very similar RVR, but higher entry. This is the aggressive stop. This is the conservative stop. That being said, we need to move this up to 3R. Over here, we will move it to 5 minutes so that I'm not clicking all day. And then, it's going to go much higher. And because of that tweet later on, it did end up reaching it right over here. Right, so that's the description of my my Kangaroo Tail Long. The short is identical, obviously just on the other side. So the entry candle was my mistake yesterday. So down 1 hour is absolutely no big deal. However, it is a category 3 because it was a mistake on the entry. At this point, I'm not seeing much happening. We're in a range. We're in between, especially on spine cues, between pre-market high and low. Unless you're scalping, it's just, there's nothing to be seen here. I am going to be waiting for the 10 a.m. news. Not sure if it's going to have an impact, but I need RVol to increase. 68% and 79% on SPY and Qs is low. And I've said it before, and I'll say it often. One of the things that absolutely helped in my trading was trading less. Uh, Not trading in this small, choppy markets right now. That's my strategy. I mean, for other people, there are people that can make tons of money in choppy little markets like this, scalping. But personally, it was not working. Taking less trades for me was absolutely the straw that broke the camel's back as far as success is concerned. Um, and not feeling FOMO. Like I had a -1 hour day yesterday. So what? One winner, I can have three in a row, and then the next trade will bring me back to break even. So when you're aiming for +3R, and oftentimes like that Tesla trade yesterday, because it took so long, I would have taken profit at 3R. But when you get your 3R very quickly within a couple candles, I'll often take 80% off and let the 20% run, just so that you can possibly be able to gain more than 3R. But you know what? 3R for me in my type of trading is all I need, -1 or +3. Again, if there are questions, please don't hesitate. If you don't want to talk, you can just put it in the chat. And don't feel bad if there's no talking right now. I'm absolutely used to it. Tesla is looking interesting. Now it's breaking out of pre-market high. It was a big move yesterday, chopped around here. What does it do here? So for me, what I'm looking for here is actually all of my setups could happen here. This could be a double top if you consider that it came down from here. Yes, it chopped around here in pre-market. If it rejected, put in a long wick and rejected here strong, it could be a short from this area. Or if it breaks out of it a little bit later on, it might be a break and retest. A lot of things can happen here on Tesla. What is our vol? Decent, 110%. As far as room to the left, lots of room. We're here. Oh, see, we're chopping around the highs of a few days ago. And then we got to come back to, I believe that was last Thursday highs here. So there's definitely, not definitely, I shouldn't use that word. There's possibly some resistance over here. Right around there. Actually, I don't like this line. I will put, yeah, it's on TradingView that I've got that extended rectangle. So I'll leave this here, right around here. There's definitely some liquidity above 408.36 here. So if I were taking a long, I would have to be able to reach my target before 408.36. So let's see what happens in this area. Tesla, get out of replay. There we go. Yeah, I had the same range on TradingView, and it's also R4. So do I want to take it long in between R3 and R4? The answer is no. Once it hits R4, though, I will absolutely be looking at it. 5 minutes until news drop. We'll see if it brings some action, because there's nothing going on right now. Approaching lows of day on SPY. Don't know if anybody's looking at the futures market. And Q seems to be chopping around a range. Gold, a little bit of a spike up. Crude was down this morning from the highs of yesterday, I should say. Now it's just chopping around. Oh, I see a question. I wish it would ding. So you're waiting until Tesla reach 408 and then see what happens there. I'm going to bring it up. Actually, I'll bring it up on TradingView. Thanks for the question, Suzanne. I hope I'm saying your name right. I always have trouble with Suzanne, Susan. My sister-in-law's name is Suzanne or Susan. I don't know. It's Suzanne, but she spells it differently. Anyway, okay. 5-minute time frame. What I'm looking at with Tesla, it broke out of pre-market high, which was right over here. I do have the cam levels on here. It is between R3 and R4, which is no man's land. It's very difficult to trade inside of here just from experience and per Camarilla rules. So what I'm looking at is, can it get to this higher time frame zone of liquidity? When I say higher time frame, is that yes, it's in the 5-minute right now. If I were to go to 30, I would see these spikes up here, right? I see them right here. We tried to get above there, and could not. However, right now this is on a 30-minute time frame, nice big green candle, but I want to see what it will do here. If I were to take a long right here, I am absolutely expecting resistance over here because of R4, but also because of this range over here. There's definitely some sellers over here, and they still have their massive accounts, and they're gonna bang it down and try to push price down. Or the market makers and buyers might be able to push through, but we might reject here. So for me, it would have to make it. I want to see what it does at 408. Absolutely, and plus it's not 10 o'clock yet. So, and there's news at 10. So I'm going to be patient. I'm going to see what happens. But on the 30-minute time frame, this is a massive candle, a lot of volume, right? There's a lot of volume here compared to the last few days. We're not quite there yet as far as the opening 30-minute candle. But let's see. Let's see what happens to the tape at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. If we see the tape, actually, I want SPY on the tape. There we go. We see a lot of orders coming in. I want to see what happens. What does the
Good
market?
morning, Joe. I'm sorry.
morning.
What is the news drop that's coming?
It's just housing numbers, new home sales, I think. So it's nothing major.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's one of those things that can have an impact because it can have an impact on interest rates, on Fed decisions. So there's the news drop, right? And nothing burger so far, right? It's not having an effect. So like I said, I mean, it's one of those that can have an impact, but for the moment, it doesn't seem like it is. You'd like to see, because the people with the Bloomberg terminals, they get that information right at 10 a.m. and they start, picking a side right away. Right now, there's nothing. There's no increase in our vol. So it's just it's a slow morning right now. Slow morning on a lot. The only thing that is high is Tesla. Now I'm wondering, is there news on Tesla? Tesla 30 minutes. Did Tesla and Google join hands for something big? Here's everything to know about the big energy affordability campaign. That was 30 minutes ago. I'm just getting this from TradingView. Not the absolute best source, but because it's often delayed.
I was looking at, well, I am looking at INTC and Rivian. They sort of popped up.
Rivian, oh wow.
Yeah, INTC was kind of strong. If you want, I can share my screen, or do you want to share yours?
I can put it up here, but if there's something you wanna share, don't hesitate. Absolutely.
Sure.
But yeah, I've got INTC here on the 5 minutes, so massive breakout and retesting this area right here. Room to the left. We took out the liquidity up here and here. Took that out. It definitely looks like a good break and retest setup. As far as the level that it's testing right now is interesting. I don't trade INTC. I don't know it. I don't know how it behaves, so I'm not going to take it. I can absolutely put it as a long tool trade here. I'm going to move to the 1 minute. I'd like to see here if it puts in a 1 minute fair value gap, which would show me that we're skipping, right? We're really buying at this level. That's what I want to see. Not really the fair value gap as far as, foreign exchange people use it, or ICT, or it just, for me, it just shows that there was a lot of buying here. We skipped a lot of orders over here on the 1 minute time frame. Okay. The fact that it's at R3, in between R3 and R4, I'm not a huge fan of, but this is a bullish candle right here. There's the gap. Right, and then not making a new high. So the high of this candle here is 46.42. And then we opened up at 46.41, 1 penny lower here. So definitely an area to look at.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like about it, I just watching it because it's my ideal setup. I want to see it pop and pull back. But the only thing that I don't like on the pullback is kind of like the volume profile on the third 5 minute candle that put it through south of VWAP.
Yeah,
we had an increase in volume. I didn't like that. I want to see like 2 or 3 pullback candles, and I want to see declining volume, or I want to see some sort of volume anomaly where we have maybe a larger volume profile, or I'm sorry, a smaller volume profile, but yet the candle's bigger.
Yeah.
And then that tells me that's an anomaly. That's what I really like.
Yeah.
But right now, it's, even though it's kind of, I threw a fib on it and it's dancing around the 50% pullback. It's still above 61.8, but
just from the low,
it's a little tricky
candle,
for me.
From the low of the opening candle to the high?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the fib right there. It's at 50%. Right. But this, a lot of people call this the market middle finger. Right. This right here, because that is a lot of volume. What was that? Was it somebody getting in a position or getting out of a position? We'd have to look at the footprint chart to be able to see where those orders came in. But a massive candle like that, you would assume that you would get, a massive volume histogram like this, you would assume to get a big candle. Now it's one of the larger candles, but then right afterwards, we did not make a new high. So yeah, but personally, I wouldn't like that either. And now it's just chopping around the 50. So if it shows buying over here, it could be a break and retest, but the retest is taking a while.
Yeah.
What was the other one? Oh,
the other one's
RIVN.
RIVN.
Yeah.
And so I like Rivian as well. It was looking pretty strong in the pre-market. It's just, I think the news on it was just a price target. That's it, right?
Oh, okay.
Normally, I don't think that's a major catalyst, but hey, whatever the price action tells me. So it
Yeah.
really popped up, and we had one pullback candle at 955. And it is a hammer. So technically, for my playbook, I can get in there in that pullback candle, but I want it to come back a bit more down. And so yeah, that it just didn't fit my profile. I would really have liked to seen 2, 3 pullback candles closer to VWAP.
Yeah.
Again, with declining volume or some volume, a volume anomaly, and then that's my signal, like boom, to get in long. But for just one pullback candle, I don't like that. It's not pulling back enough for me.
Great. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't looked at a Rivian for a long time. I used it. I remember talking about it while I was still teaching in high school, and when the IPO came out, and it was just such a great subject for discussion. Because the IPO was absolutely ridiculous how high it went. It was, $130, I think, within a few days. It was valued at more than Ford and Chrysler combined, and it had 0 vehicles on the road. Like, it was just craziness. So, but it was a good example of hype and just people trading, right? And it didn't really have anything to do with their fundamentals. Yeah, so there you go. And just for my students this just shows when you see candles like this is just algorithmic. These are just algos trading back and forth. When you see these candles here with no wicks, it means that there is very, very low volume, and it was just, I see this and it's like, wow, I will not touch this at all. However, once the news came in, it can absolutely be a good ticker to get into. What do we got? I didn't hear any of my alerts go off. Tesla still chopping around this area. Right, I would have liked to have seen it go up higher, but I mean, we're not in a hurry. Let's see what happens. Right now, there's nothing setting up for me. That Microsoft candle I was talking about earlier, it could have trapped some people, right? I'll bring it up here and just explain. This is partially my Kangaroo Tail setup. I want to see a long wick into liquidity, and it needs to be a long-term liquidity. So there were stops down here. So I like that part. But the body of this candle needs to be within the range of the previous candle. And at this point, it's not. It's lower. It needs to close around the tops, which was my example that I showed on my Tesla trade yesterday. That was a mistake on my part. And preferably, it needs to close green. Now, after 2 big red candles like this, that would have been too much against me. I would not have taken this. So obviously it did not form as a kangaroo tail as per my definition, because the body is not within the body. It didn't close green. There's too much of a wick at the top. But look at it. Some people might have gone long here, and then they would have been stopped out right around here. So that is one of my favorite setups. And on Tesla yesterday, this candle right here was absolutely the picture perfect kangaroo tail. Yes, it came after a red candle here, but you can tell that right after it printed, it just started moving up. So like I described earlier, waiting for the 1 minute fair value gap works more often than not. And sharing this information here is much better than just sitting at a screen looking at candles. So hopefully it helps. I know that it helps my students that watch it after the fact. Thank you for the thumbs up. Tarek's sitting on his hands. Tried to short CL. What did
Hey, Gilles, may I share my screen? I want to show you what I'm looking for in an anomaly.
Yep.
I just saw this on INTC.
Yep, absolutely. What
Here
am
we
I?
go. So this is kind of when I'm talking about volume anomalies. It's selling off. We're having lower lows, right? I was lower lows. Then look at this candle, way bigger than these two, but look at the volume profile, less. And the other thing is, at least right
So,
now,
can I stop you there, Evo? So when you
What's
say
that?
it's an anomaly, and it's a big candle, less volume, what does that tell you? That where buyers are stepping in or sellers are stepping in?
I think that seller exhaustion is taking place. Like this doesn't make sense because if you have a bigger body candle, you should have an increase in selling volume. We had a decrease. So that tells me something's not quite right. The other thing that looks interesting is the low level. The low of this candle is 4602. The low of the current candle is 4602. That's potential tweezers if the 4602 holds. So for me, that's very interesting for me because I like to see that. I want to see some anomaly where you got a bigger size candle.
What time frame are
But
you on?
I'm on the 5-minute chart here.
The 5-minute. Okay. Wait, sorry. What's that platform?
Thinkorswim.
Okay.
And so
Yeah,
for me, this is
that's
my
great
idea.
analysis. Thanks. And it's right at that level that that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you look for as an entry trigger? Do you zoom into the 1 or do you still wait on the 5-minute?
I'm just going to trade on the 5. I just gotten so burned on the 1. I can't trade it to save my behind. So all I need to do is if we get a green candle print to close here, the distance between the close and the low, that's my risk. I adjust my share size accordingly. And ideally, I would get in maybe about 10 seconds or so before the candle closes. And then I set my stop in and I will target high day.
Yeah.
But we'll see. My
Be
decision
careful on
making
that.
is the
What's
last
forming
minute.
right there. Here, let me put it on.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it on my big screen over here. So the low of this candle is 4601. It is a pre-market high. So this is absolutely a level. 4602. So we're really curious to see how this candle will close or how the next few candles are going to close. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm not sure it's going to record on my video. I'm recording from my laptop, so I hope it did. If not, I'm still tweaking how I'm recording and sharing. So it'll be a good lesson for me to figure out. AMD's at a similar level, right? At PDC here. It's just that I just by looking at this really quickly, there's nothing happening. Everything's just chopping around sideways. Until spying cues possibly break down below pre-market low, then I think that'll activate the market. But for now, there's just nothing happening. I just want to bring INTC onto my trading view. Look at it. Forming a little bit of a bear flag right now. $46.19 seems to be 46.19, 2021 seems to be resistance on INTC.
I entered long at 4609 and I put my stop at 46.
Awesome. That's
We'll see what happens.
That is a very tight stop, 9 cents. You mind me asking, did you have a trigger on Like the 5 minute or the 1 minute or?
Nope, just the 5-minute chart. It's an inverted hammer, so there's still some selling pressure here, but that was my trigger. And we'll just let it go.
You entered long, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But I could get stopped out very quickly if it doesn't work in my favor.
Yeah. I'm going to share it on here. The range is tightening up on INTC. Volume is slowing down. It is later on in the session, so this is somewhat normal. There is definitely liquidity. There's orders underneath, a lot of stops right underneath this area.
If it works in my favor, my first price target would be VWAP. And second would be
I don't put VWAP on my chart. Where is it? Probably around 46 and a quarter.
46.52 currently.
52.
Yeah, $46.52. That would be my first price target. My second price target would be the high of day, 47.20. We'll see. I just have to let it go, and if it works in my favor, great. If not, I'll take my 1 point stop. I'm done for the day, and I'll close my station.
Yeah. Well, good luck. On the 1 minute, it's making new lows. So it could spike up here and then continue down. But it could start making new highs. So, I mean, it's not a prediction on my part. I just reading price action and then correlating that with what's going on the market. What is INTC RVOL at? 112%, up 1.3% right now. And then was there news on INTC? Hit by February slump, rally momentum faces early 2026 test. Oh, that was 4 days ago. Yesterday, Concurrent Technology launches computing cards based on new Intel tech. 2 hours ago. Yeah, 10 more minutes and I'm going to walk away. I'm going to set some alerts on TradingView so I get them on my watch. However, there's just not much happening here for my liking. I do have other stuff to do with the computer, so I will keep one of these screens up and wait for an alert or not trade today. Yeah, 46 and a quarter just on INTC, just seems to be resistance there.
Mm-hmm.
You said entry was at 09?
4609, yes. Mm-hmm. Which was just literally less than 10 seconds before that the close of the inverted hammer. That's when I like to enter. If I'm going to enter, I want to be able to get in just before the close, because sometimes I'll see a price spike as soon as the next candle starts to print, and that skews my risk to reward. Ideally, if this thing gets up to around 46, 30, 40, I'm going to raise my stop. So right now it's going in my favor so far. We're printing higher lows on the 5-minute chart.
Yeah.
Just need some volume to come in here. Oh, there we go. Nice.
There you go.
Awesome. I'm going to start to get ready to partial here.
Yeah, that's a nice spike.
We got a bigger candle size and we have bigger volume. So I'm going to try to let this candle play out before I take any partials here. Or if I may just let it run a high day. Let me see. Just going to raise my stop to break even now.
Yeah. $46.50 is round number. See what happens there.
I think I might start taking some partials. Hoping we might just pass 46.50 for a brief spike. Come on. Give me a little spike past the 50-cent mark.
Got
Almost.
INTC book here. So there you go. In the
Partial 1, partial 2. Partial 3. So I got about 70% of my position left. I took about 30% off there. Oh, come on, let's go. Lift it, lift it.
Yeah, the market is following. Q's right at PDC. 3 second, or sorry, that's yeah, right at PDC. SPY just below. NVIDIA high day. Apple high day. AMD bouncing off PDC for a small break and retest pattern.
It looks like NQ has completely engulfed on 15 minutes. Previous candle.
NQ.
And it is actually from a known level of 24,900. Nice.
Sounds like a lot of over trading in here, huh?
Yeah. How's it going, Avi?
All good, man. How you guys doing?
Very good.
Good. I love how silent it is in this room. Wow, the other rooms are real ruckus.
Oh, yeah.
This is great. It's a library. I'm gonna keep quiet myself. This is great.
Yeah, just looking at
Strategy shortcut.
somebody was just talking about NQ. We were looking at INTC. Evo is in a long on INTC. There's my alert on NVIDIA. Go ahead if you want to share your screen, Avi.
Yeah. Whenever you're done, I'll get going and
Yeah.
start recording as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the alert I set on NVIDIA. Just wanted to see how it reacts at this level. So I put this long rectangle here. Support was resistance. What will it be today? So this is what I'm looking at on NVIDIA. Very for NVIDIA, it's pretty low RVOL. It's 72%. So we'll see what happens. And it is getting close to 10:30, so I'm actually going to hang out because Avi's here. But I will stop sharing my screen and looking forward to seeing what everybody else has to say.
Cool. Thanks, Jill.
All right.
Fun. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. How's that, guys? You know, it takes a fair bit of courage to share your screen at the open and talk through what you're saying. We've got Jill doing it all the time now. So, thanks a lot, Jill. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
no, hey, it's my pleasure. I enjoy the conversations and the questions, and it helps me out as well. So, no, I'm happy to do it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you,
Sure.
Jill.
All right.